I know Johnny Chaos said we could be seeing a $30,000 hex, and that was unfathomable with Bitcoin. And then we went to 69,000. And it seems unfathomable now. I mean,
Hmm.
being that we're at 5 cents, uh, can you imagine a $30,000 hex?
Yeah, I'll start with the end first. Yes. Right. Yes. Now, I don't know, dude. I don't know if you're going to see that this year, 5 years, 12 years. I don't know if it'll even actually happen. There's a lot going on, right? But let me tell you, there are quite a few people who were pretty sure we weren't going to see 50 cents. And I don't know, I don't know what the X's are. You have to tell me the X's, but I know what the X's are to 30,000 bucks. But it was pretty much not a sure thing we were going to see 10,000 X, right? At least in our minds. So we all kind of have this price bias, right? We live where we are. We're sitting down well below a penny. Oh man, I don't know. Maybe someday it'll get to a penny, right? Got to 50 cents, right? We kind of give ourselves, I think people do this in general, these limits we put in our head, and we're like, oh, can't do that because that would be crazy. But you know what? Uh, sure enough, Bitcoin did that. Sure enough, you could have gotten 50 cent ETH, you know, 6, 7 years ago. So what isn't possible, Now, exactly what path, I don't know. It'll get there, but I think it's important. I think it's important to be realistic and even conservative. I tend to be super conservative. Like I do all my planning based on the current price, right? So I want to be able to make sure that I can take care of my family at the current price, right? And so what do I need? What kind of staking do I need to do that? But that kind of cuts me off sometimes because I might not be like thinking about the moon math. And like in crypto, a 50x would be kind of like meh, 100x would be like we're kind of in the game,
Yeah.
So another 10,000x, sure. But like the guys are saying in chat, man, $30,000 hex. I don't know what the hell that looks like. How many billionaires is that? And of course, paper billionaires in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I like what you're saying. Is nothing stopping it. I think, and people can't imagine these returns also because, like in stocks, there's a company dumping on you. The price goes
Hmm.
up, they just start issuing new shares and selling it. That's got to make
Yep.
it heavy.
Yep.
There's also people that got in like many like 100x lower than retail that are unloading. With crypto, it's different because crypto, not all of them, and it is a dying thing these days. But the whole thing about crypto is that the retail has the opportunity to get ahead of the institutions and ahead of the accredited investors, which has its downside, which we're seeing. Like because you could easily just scam people, but if you get it right, the sky's the limit. What do you think about that?
If you get it right, the sky is the limit. I think that's good. That's true. I think that's true. I mean, yeah, I joke around with RG about this at one point. RG3 dropping his name, I'm stealing clout. But he was the one that put me on to, doing things like emergency end staking early and before the big payday and going after more T shares. But we were talking back then, and, I don't remember exact wording and all this, but like 10 cents was kind of like crazy. Again, kind of like crazy to think you even get to 10 cents. So when you start talking about adoption, and I know he and Johnny Chaos were on, I think it was last night, and they had a big conversation about all this stuff. You know, maybe we've got 100,000 people involved right now. It's a minor number compared
Yeah.
to all of the people in crypto that could be involved and compared to all the people in the world who aren't involved, in crypto at
Mhm.
all. So we could, what does it look like when you double, right? Is that a 4x of the network value? I don't know,
Yeah, and
whatever it ends up being.
Yeah, and I guess I wanted to bring up this tweet I had this morning because it relates to everything that you said and we're discussing. But like, there's a lot of people out there that are saying, "Oh, Hex, it could only do a 4x from all time high because Ethereum on its second cycle did a 4x from 4x from its all time high in Cardano and like a bunch of other alts." Um, but what people don't realize is that not every situation is the same. And I explained in this tweet that, uh,
Mm.
ETH and ADA were known by all. Everybody knew what it was after their first run up, and it got listed on every single centralized exchange, kind of like what we're seeing with SHIB now. So SHIB might 4x its all time high kind of thing because, there's not too many people to bring in at this point. But Hex is still unknown with zero major centralized exchange listings. I mean, so few people, like you said, maybe 100,000, maybe. Um, the opportunity is so early, and it's similar to Bitcoin. In its second cycle, it did 1,000. It didn't 4x its all time high. It did a lot more than that because even after its first cycle, it was not known. So that's why I don't like simplifying things to math when things are a lot more complicated. But what are your thoughts on
They
all
are.
this?
Yeah, well, of course, things are more complicated. It depends how you want to measure. I mean, some people do measure top to top, but quite frequently, right, it's bottom to top, right? So previous bottom to top. And with Ethereum last round did 53x from the bottom to the top. So I think in this case, if you were just talking about, 4x gets you to hex at $2, right? Which is a huge number by itself, right? What's 2 cents times 53? 53x, right? So I should do that on a calculator, get it right. So if we do 0.02 times 53, right? That gets you to $1.06, right? So I think the lame side of this, the low side of what we're looking at is that kind of range, right? $1 to $2, right? And you'll hear a lot of guys talk about 150, 160, 240, 269, that kind of range. But that's not the end of the story. This is only, so first off, I think what you're saying is right. You can't just cookie cut this stuff in. There's no telling what will happen. Really, there's no telling what will happen with the volatility coming from pulsechain.